The narcissist's last chance at happiness is gone. The sooner you can see through the fog and really understand what is happening when a narcissist suddenly turns cold or pushes you away, the sooner you can begin moving toward closure. Many people find themselves stuck in that cycle of trying to bridge the gap, reaching out, apologizing, or attempting reconciliation, only to be met with silence, anger, or outright hostility. The harder you try to reconnect, the further they push you away, sometimes even resorting to insults or verbal attacks. For those of you who are empaths, chosen ones, or simply genuine souls with kind hearts, this behavior can feel especially devastating. Yet it's important to realize what's actually happening on their end. Narcissists often feel deeply unfulfilled with the outcomes of their own lives. They carry regret, but not the kind that leads to growth or self-reflection. Their regret often looks more like, "I wish I could have hurt you more. I wish I had kept you on my leash longer. I wish I hadn't let you wake up to who I really am." In other words, their sorrow is not about losing you as a person. It's about losing control over you. This is why it's so self-absorbed. Their sense of regret isn't rooted in compassion or genuine loss, but rather in their own distorted perspective. Still, even in their twisted way of thinking, they know you represented something they couldn't find anywhere else. They may chase after people with more money, a flashier lifestyle, or external success, but none of that sustains them the way your authenticity, your energy, and your spirit did. Around you, they felt a kind of fulfillment that no superficial supply could match. That's why you may find yourself confused, asking, if I was such a source of happiness, why did they leave? Why did they throw this away? The answer lies in their constant search for something they imagine will complete them. They convince themselves that walking away or pursuing something new will finally bring satisfaction. I recently came across a video of a woman who said, "I love my husband, I love my kids, but I had to go." She uprooted her entire life, moved to another state, and left her family behind, all under the belief that she needed to find herself. Whether or not she was a narcissist, her reasoning echoed stories I've heard repeatedly from people who've shared their experiences in sessions. It's the same pattern, the belief that fulfillment lies somewhere else, with someone else, or in some brand new start. But here's the truth, they rarely, if ever, find it. They may convince themselves they have, but deep down, they remain empty. The woman in that video didn't even mention having someone new in her life. It wasn't about a replacement partner. It was about chasing an illusion of fulfillment. And that's exactly what narcissists do over and over again. They walk away from what is real, what is authentic, and what truly nourishes the soul, only to end up dissatisfied once more. That's not what's really happening. When they say they needed to leave, it's rarely as simple as it sounds. Often, there's another person waiting in the background, a hidden partner or new supply they've already lined up. That's why it's crucial not to take their words or actions at face value. You have to see beyond the surface. Their choices are not wise or well thought out. They are poorly calculated moves that they convince themselves will bring happiness. In reality, those choices only lead them deeper into dissatisfaction. The truth is, when they walked away from you, they threw away their final chance at real happiness. They will never again experience that level of trust, connection, or authenticity. And because of their inability to form true bonds, pair bonding simply isn't in their nature. They will never find someone better than you. When you understand the power of genuine energy, authenticity, and transparency, you begin to see why your presence had such a profound impact on them. Your essence was something rare, something that left a mark. That's why reactions to you can be so polarized. Some people admire you deeply, others resent you, and some simply don't know what to make of you. This confusion exists because so many people today are disconnected from their own soul. And that's an important point. Someone who isn't in touch with their own spirit cannot truly be a soulmate to anyone. The very concept gets distorted when applied to people like narcissists. They aren't soulmates. They are individuals out of alignment, incapable of forming that kind of sacred connection. What this means for you is powerful. Fulfillment does not hinge on another person, least of all a narcissist. True happiness has to be found within yourself, by yourself, and for yourself. After everything you've endured, heartbreak, betrayal, financial exploitation, manipulation, and emotional abuse, you owe it to yourself to reclaim joy and wholeness on your own terms. That's where your healing begins. And once you've tasted that self-source fulfillment, the narcissist becomes nothing more than a figure in your past, stripped of the power they once held over you. The most important step is to stay strong enough to never let them back into your life. Narcissists are skilled at slimy tactics, false promises, crocodile tears, and strategic attempts to trigger your empathy. But no matter what they say or how they try to draw you back in, you must remain firm. Don't meet them, don't message them, don't even open the door to conversation. Their chapter in your life is closed, and reopening it will only invite more pain. They are the ones who have sabotaged their own lives, whether they recognize it immediately or not. Eventually, they will face the weight of their decisions, the reality of what they lost, and the emptiness that follows. And here's the paradox. You might even find yourself wishing it weren't this way, wishing you could hope for their well-being despite everything. That speaks volumes about your empathy and goodness. But the hard truth remains. Their downfall is the result of their own choices, and your responsibility is not to save them, but to free yourself. Trust me, you'll get to a place where your hope for the narcissist shifts. It's not about wanting them to suffer. It's the opposite. What most of us quietly wish for is that they move on, get distracted by someone else, and stop orbiting our lives. You want distance. You want peace. You don't want to watch them hurt anybody else, but you do want them off your radar so you can finally breathe. At the heart of why things fell apart was that destructive mix of obsession and envy. They were fixated on you, not because they loved you in any healthy sense, but because they wanted to possess, control, and ultimately break what made you real. Genuine souls, empaths, chosen ones, those true, transparent people, are rare. That kind of authenticity is precious, and narcissists are desperate to drain it. So when you step away, their reaction is often violent or vindictive. It's their rage at losing something they never deserved. That's why it's so important to redirect your energy inward instead of chasing a mirror of yourself in someone new. Don't fall into the trap of assuming the next person you meet will be your twin, your perfect match, or a flawless soulmate. You've already been burned by believing that a person or role, partner, parent, boss, or friend would be the safe place. The truth is, people aren't obligated to be what you need. Some never will be. So focus first on rebuilding your own life, your own joy, and your own sense of self-worth. Find fulfillment within you, not in the idea of another person completing you. If a narcissist does get distracted, if they fall for someone else or get obsessed with someone new, that can be a blessing in disguise because it buys you space. Use that space deliberately. Think of all the energy you used to pour into them. Your time, your care, your emotional labor. Now imagine directing even a fraction of that back to yourself. Invest in your healing, your interests, your health, your friendships. That's the real recovery work. Remember that narcissists operate on impulse and appetite, often seeking novelty, lust, and quick gratification. That impulsivity can be intoxicating at first, and it can still catch even the most grounded empath off guard. But it's temporary for them, and dangerous for you if you let it draw you back in. Your job now is to stay steady, protect the distance, honor your boundaries, and choose self-care over re-engagement. In short, wish them well if you must, but don't reunite your life with theirs. Let the space you've gained be your sanctuary, not a waiting room for their next move. Build the life they couldn't give you, quietly, deliberately, and for yourself. The real work lies in learning how to master your own energy and direct it into something that actually builds your life instead of draining it. When you begin to understand how to channel that power, you start refining it over time, shaping it into creation and growth. Of course, there may be moments when temptation creeps in or when old habits try to pull you back. But ask yourself honestly, is it really worth it? Forming soul ties with multiple people, or scattering your energy across connections that don't serve you only leaves you depleted. The narcissist is a perfect example of this. They act on impulse, driven by lust and immediate gratification, never by wisdom or patience. Think about the people they turn to after you. Most of those new supplies are nothing more than glorified rebounds. This doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. You see it in friendships, work connections, even family alliances. They rush from one person to another, trying to fill the void, and along the way they collect enablers, flying monkeys, and hangers-on. But at the core, it's all shallow. And this is why you never need to feel jealousy toward whoever comes next. You were not replaced by something better. You were abandoned for a temporary distraction. I've spoken about this before in more depth, but the truth never changes. What they find in these new people is hollow. At the end of the day, they already lost their one true chance at happiness. That's not exaggeration, it's simply reality. Because here's the paradox with narcissists. Even when they get what they claim to want, they immediately begin to resent it and crave something else. Satisfaction never lasts, and eventually they collapse under the weight of their own insatiability. Especially after experiencing a source as strong and authentic as you, every substitute feels thin, and none of it holds up. That's when they spiral into provocation, trying to bait you, stalking through fake profiles, staring drama just to get your attention. It's strange behavior, but it reveals how lost they truly are. That's why, even if it feels counterintuitive, the best outcome is for them to get infatuated with someone else. If they stay distracted elsewhere, it gives you the gift of peace, of space, of breathing room to heal and rebuild. You don't want them resurfacing, dragging you back into chaos, or reigniting drama. That's unnecessary, and it steals from the progress you've worked so hard to achieve. So let them chase their illusions while you focus on your own growth. And with that, thank you for taking the time to be here. I truly appreciate your support. I'll be sharing more soon. But until then, protect your energy, guard your peace, and keep moving forward.